Every crime has a story, and behind many of the most disturbing crimes in recent memory, there's a mother. Not a mother who pulled the trigger, not one who swung the weapon, but a mother who saw the warning signs and said nothing, who helped her child disappear, who took the stand and lied under oath, who watched 4 children die at her son's hands, and told the world she would not have done a single thing differently. Today we are looking at 5 women who, when faced with the worst moments of their children's lives, chose complicity, chose denial, chose themselves. We are ranking them, from bad to unforgivable. This is Monster Mothers. We start with Louise Bundy, because Louise gives us a masterclass in one specific thing: denial so total, so complete, that it became its own form of grotesque loyalty. Ted Bundy confessed to the murders of 30 women, likely more. Historians and investigators believe the true number could exceed 100. He murdered women across at least 7 states, bludgeoning, strangling, and sexually assaulting his victims, sometimes returning to their remains after death. Louise Bundy never wavered.
As a good, loving, fine young man.
Through the trials, through the confessions, through the execution.
Still our son, no matter what he's done, and we love him very much.
Her response to the evidence was simple. Ted Bundy does not go around killing women and little children.
The family will be devastated by this, but we stick behind him because we know he's not guilty, as do all his friends.
Her response to the confessions was silence. Her response to his execution was a final phone call where she told him, and the world, "You will always be my precious son." Now, Louise Bundy sits at number 5, not because what she did was minor, but because there is, at the edge of the argument, something almost tragic about a mother who simply cannot accept who her son became. She was not the one who enabled the murders. She loved her son in the most catastrophically misguided, victims be damned way possible. But she was not an architect of his crimes. The women ahead of her on this list actively intervened. They made choices. Louise Bundy's greatest crime was not choosing at all. In August of 2023, Cuyahoga County Judge Nancy Margaret Russo watched surveillance footage in a silent courtroom, and then convicted 20-year-old Mackenzie Shirilla of murder. The footage showed Shirilla intentionally accelerating her car to over 100 miles per hour before slamming it into a building wall. In the car were her boyfriend, Dominic Russo, and his friend, Davion Flanagan. Both died. Shirilla survived. Mackenzie Shirilla was sentenced to a minimum of 15 years to life, and her mother, Natalie Shirilla, sat through the entire trial and emerged from it with one message for the press. This was an accident.
It did all their publications, but yeah, the UK.
It's on the Daily Mail.
In UK.
Maybe Kim Kardashian will reach out herself.
That's what I'm saying. I'm hoping. We're getting there.
On the stand during the trial, Natalie Shirilla said, "This was a terrible nightmare accident to have happened." After conviction, she and her husband Steve broke their silence in an exclusive interview, insisting their daughter was innocent, that the justice system had failed them, and that evidence their attorney had was never shown to the court. The surveillance footage disagrees. The judge who reviewed that footage personally disagreed. Natalie Shirilla sits at number 4 because her behavior, while galling, is perhaps the most emotionally understandable on this list. It is very hard to believe your child is capable of murder. It is very easy to call it an accident when the alternative is unthinkable. But at some point, the denial stops being grief and starts being something else entirely. On June 23, 2011, Cindy Anthony walked into a Florida courtroom, placed her hand on the Bible, and swore to tell the whole truth. Then, by most accounts, she didn't. Her daughter Casey Anthony was on trial for the murder of her 2-year-old granddaughter, Kaylee Anthony. The prosecution's case included evidence that someone in the Anthony household had searched for chloroform on the family computer, searches prosecutors tied directly to Casey. Cindy took the stand and told the jury that it was she, not Casey, who made those chloroform searches. She said she was searching for information after suspecting a family dog might have been poisoned by bamboo leaves in the backyard. There was just one problem. Her employer's records showed she was at work, logged into her hospital computer for nearly 9 hours, on the exact days she claimed to have made those searches at home. Prosecutors considered perjury charges against Cindy Anthony. The Orange County Sheriff stated publicly that she may have lied on the stand. Ultimately, no charges were filed. Cindy Anthony sat there, in that courtroom, and offered herself up as the lie that might save her daughter's life. Whether she was motivated by grief, by guilt, by love, or by desperation, the effect was the same. She potentially obstructed a murder trial for the death of her own granddaughter, a child she claimed to love more than life itself. Casey Anthony was acquitted of murder. Cindy Anthony lives at number 3 because she didn't just deny, she allegedly acted. She got in that witness box and may have committed a crime to protect her daughter, and in doing so, potentially let a murderer walk free. On September 1, 2021, Brian Laundrie arrived at his parents' home in Northport, Florida. He had driven across the country, alone, without his girlfriend, Gabby Petito, who had last been seen alive more than 2 weeks earlier. Brian's father, Christopher Laundrie, called a lawyer immediately, and then, instead of contacting police, instead of helping Gabby Petito's desperate family understand where their daughter was, the Laundrie family went camping. Fort DeSoto Park, Pinellas County, Florida, September 6th through 8th, 2021. A family camping trip. While Gabby Petito's family made frantic calls that went unanswered. When Gabby's family tried to reach them, no response. When the nation started asking questions, still nothing. The Laundries, guided by their attorney, said nothing. But Roberta Laundrie had already said something, in a letter, found in Brian's backpack after his death. The letter from Roberta to Brian contained the following passage. "If you're in jail, I will bake a cake with a file in it. If you need to dispose of a body, I will show up with a shovel and garbage bags." Roberta insisted the letter was written before the road trip, that it was a loving expression of unconditional support, a reference to children's books, that it meant nothing. Gabby Petito's attorneys said the letter proved Roberta Laundrie knew her son was a killer and offered to help cover it up. The civil suit was settled, terms confidential. Roberta Laundrie sits at number 2 because her behavior wasn't just passive denial. She sat at that campfire while a family screamed into the void for answers about their missing daughter. She had answers, and she said nothing. Whether the letter was what prosecutors believed it to be, or just the wildly ill-timed sentimentality of a doting mother, the effect is the same. She made a choice, multiple choices, and Gabby Petito is still dead. On November 30th, 2021, Ethan Crumbley walked into Oxford High School in Michigan and opened fire. He killed 4 students, Hannah St. Juliana, 16, Tate Meyer, 16, Justin Schilling, 17, Madison Baldwin, 17. 7 others were wounded. His mother, Jennifer Crumbley, knew something was wrong. She knew for months. When Ethan told his parents he was seeing a demon, when he asked for help, when he asked to see a doctor, Jennifer Crumbley said no. When Ethan got in trouble at school for searching for images of bullets on his phone, Jennifer Crumbley did not call the school back. She texted her son, "LOL, I'm not mad. You have to learn not to get caught." 4 days before the shooting, Jennifer and James Crumbley gave their son a gun, a 9mm Sig Sauer SP-2022, as an early Christmas present. Ethan texted his mother excitedly, "I love the gun." Jennifer responded asking if he'd shown it to his friends. On the morning of the shooting, school counselors pulled Jennifer and James Crumbley into an emergency meeting. They showed them a drawing Ethan had made, a semi-automatic handgun. The words, "The thoughts won't stop, help me." A person shot, blood everywhere. The school asked that Ethan be taken home. Jennifer and James Crumbley refused. They went back to their lives. Jennifer texted a friend about afternoon plans, and Ethan went back to his classroom, with his backpack, with the gun inside. Within hours, 4 teenagers were dead. Jennifer Crumbley was arrested, tried, and on February 6, 2024, she became the first parent in American history to be convicted of involuntary manslaughter for a mass shooting committed by their child. 4 counts, guilty on all of them. At trial, Jennifer Crumbley took the stand in her own defense. She was asked if she would have done anything differently, knowing what she now knows. Knowing 4 children are dead, she said,
"I've asked myself if I would have done anything differently, and I wouldn't have."
Jennifer Crumbley is number 1 on this list. Not because she wanted her son to kill 4 children, but because she had every opportunity to prevent it and chose not to. Because she sat in that courtroom, convicted, and felt no responsibility. Because she is currently serving 10 to 15 years in a Michigan prison and still believes she did nothing wrong. There is no easy answer to what a parent owes their child when that child has done the unthinkable. There is no manual for that moment. But there is, at minimum, an obligation to the truth, to the victims, to the simple acknowledgement that someone else's child is never coming home. These 5 women did not meet that obligation.